What's up, everybody? If you're new to this channel, I will go ahead and point out, if you look back at my old videos, you see it's been a while since I posted on this channel. And I do want to start off by giving a big shout out to Matthew Movies for giving this particular channel a shout out. This is my second channel that I have, a much smaller channel, and even my main channel is really not that big. I mean, it's growing at kind of a healthy rate now, especially ever since I think once I got past the 400 mark, then it started to kind of pick up speed there. So we'll see how that goes. But this channel, I knew it was going to be small, and I expect it to stay small even over time, just because for me, this channel, if you're not familiar with it, it's almost in a way like my journal, you might as well say. I mean, I call it FM Thinking Out Loud for that particular reason. So it's just me sharing a lot of thoughts that I've had recently and over the years, and I'll continue to go kind of dig back into the crates, I guess you'll say, and share some things that I've thought about in the past that are still true to me, and even some ideas that may have changed over time, and explaining why those ideas have changed. Also, I do want my creative writing, especially my poetry, to be a part of this channel. I'll say I'm kind of in a slump right now with writing. It's not so much writer's block as just having so many other things going on in my life right now, and I've even felt like maybe creative writing would just take a back seat for a long time, but I don't think that's true. I think I'll probably give it maybe another month or two and then see what I can do, even if it's just some short stories and a poem here and there. It's just too much a part of who I am to completely put it away. So and I used to self-publish books, actually hard copies of books. I actually do have some ebooks available on Amazon.com right now, and I may do some more in the future. I think I really will. So I kind of got to get over this hump in my mind where I sometimes fall into that trap of thinking of success as, relating to sales. And it's really not about that for me. It never really has been, but sometimes, I fall victim to that too. I get caught up in that. But yeah, I'm going to get past that, and I'm going to get back to writing, because it's part of who I am. And, even if it takes a really long time for people to appreciate it more, because I think I've developed more as a writer. I could be honest with myself and say some of my earlier books were kind of rough, but I feel like I've improved a lot. I think I'm really proud of the last I would say the last 3 novels that I did. I'm really proud of those. Definitely proud of my poetry collections. So yeah, I'm really hoping that eventually they'll find an audience, but it's not completely necessary. So yeah, enough about that. This channel, though, like I said, I've been away from it just because I've been so busy with so many other things. I haven't given up on this channel, but it's just I've been so busy with so many other things, and I got some videos in mind for my main channel, including 2 collaborations with Matthew Movies, which he did point that out, and I'm sorry I'm pointing over there because I actually do have his videos pulled up on my TV right now, because I just watched that one where he shouted out this channel. But yeah, I just wanted to give you all a channel update before I move into a topic. Now, before I actually really delve into the topic, I do want to let you know there's no script in front of me, not even any notes or anything like that. Sometimes when there's a lot of layers to a topic, I may just do a quick little outline just so I don't miss anything that I want to talk about. But for the most part, I like to really stay true to the topic. So that's why I don't like to plan. I mean, it's called, the channel's called FM Thinking Out Loud. I want it to really be me thinking out loud. So I may ramble a little bit sometimes here and there, so forgive me for that. But hopefully you still get something out of the topic that I address. So for this particular topic, and this really is one that just kind of snapped to my mind after I watched Matthew Movies' video, and I was like, and I think it's been hovering in my mind for a while, because I live alone. I used to be married, and but the majority of my life now, I'm at the point in the age now to where I can say the majority of my life I have lived on my own. And there are definitely some positives and negatives to that, and you really got to weigh them. So, that's what I want to talk about here for a moment. So, starting off with the positives, to me the most obvious is freedom. And it really baffles me how some adults, like to me, once you hit at least 21, once you're by that age, I just don't understand how some people can be comfortable living at home. And I mean, I'm not talking about people that have to live at home, because there are some people that have some genuinely financial, some genuine financial hardships. I understand that it is really tough. I mean, minimum wage is still a joke in this country. It can be hard to find a job even with a 4-year degree. So I can understand if it's a financial crunch and you have to be at home. But people that choose to stay at home just because they don't want to pay rent, they don't want to take care of certain responsibilities, they still want their mama, washing their clothes and feeding them. I don't get that mentality, because the freedom is that's definitely the biggest plus to being independent. And, I'll tell young people all the time, you need to think ahead about how are you going to be independent in the future. And I said, you can't always assume that your parents are going to try to take care of you for the rest of your life. You might be young and cute right now, and it's, the little things you do they can overlook. But once you're an adult and you're basically leeching off of them, that's not cool anymore. And you're basically leaving yourself in a situation to where you could easily get put out, and legally there's nothing you can do. So I think having that freedom is just so important. And when it comes to living alone, especially, I mean, I gotta say that's one thing I absolutely love about the way that I live right now. Like I said, I live alone. I don't have any children. I'm divorced. I've been divorced for several years now. Not in a relationship right now, which is something else I honestly just don't feel like I have the time for. So it is very nice that I can just get up and go whenever I want to. If I want to go see a movie, I can just go do that. I live less than an hour away from Myrtle Beach. If I feel like I want to get up and go to the beach, I can go do that. I don't have to check with anybody. I just move when I want to move, and I really do enjoy that. And I don't have to worry about, my main channel, it mostly focuses on my collectibles, Funko Pops and other types of figures. I don't have to listen to anybody complaining about everything that I purchase and every little thing that I do, so that's definitely a big plus as well. And, there's some chores, like I may put them off here and there, whatever, and a lot, but, again, it's just not hearing constant complaining helps a lot. And so it's very freeing, and being able to just rest when I want to rest. I kind of have this habit from college to where normally when I get home from work, I take a little nap, and then I'm up most of the night, and then I'll sleep again for a couple of hours, which some people may look at that as not healthy, really not a good idea, but it's my habit. It's what I'm used to. And I know my ex wasn't so crazy about that, because she felt like we were kind of out of sync and we were losing time. And what she's saying, it was true to an extent. But at the same time, though, like I said, it's what I'm used to. So not having anybody complain about that, or not having anybody bother me when I feel like I want to rest, I want to take a quick nap, whatever it may be, is very nice. And I can, turn my phone off if I want to for a little bit without stressing about it. So, there are definitely, to me, a lot of pluses to being on my own. Now, on the flip side, and I'm mainly focusing on relationships. When you live with somebody, there are positives to it as well. I'm not going to act like it's all negative, but the complaining definitely happens, and I've heard people say it before. I don't know who originally said it. If anybody knows, you can let me know. But somebody basically said, no matter how beautiful a woman is, somewhere there's a guy that is just completely fed up with her crap. So, and I think that's true. That I love women, but I don't know what it is, especially about when you live with a woman or you're in a long-term relationship. There are so many women that just fall into this pattern of constantly complaining. And I'm not saying that all women do that, but there are definitely some that do that. And as a matter of fact, I remember many years ago when I was still in college and I had a car that gave out. I mean, I had so much car trouble over the years, it's ridiculous. But I remember I hitched a ride with one of the young ladies that was in my class, and her husband was actually taking us to drop us off for an internship that we were doing. And it may have been a 15-minute drive, and she complained so much in that 15 minutes. I was like, how does this guy not just drive right off a bridge? Like, it was just insane how much she complained. Almost every word out of her mouth was a complaint. And she was like telling him all the things he needs to do while she's away. And He's like, yes, dear, yes, dear. Like, it's like all this is obviously stuff that he already knew he needed to do. And then also, like being a backseat driver, even though she was in front seat, but you know what I mean? Like every little thing about his driving, slow down here, there goes a stop sign. It's just constant. And I'm like, like I can't deal with that, so yeah, I think living with somebody, there's gonna be complaints. Even if you live with somebody of this, let's assuming you're straight and you live with somebody of the same gender, you have a roommate, it could still be that, a lot of complaining. So yeah, you really gotta weigh that in. Now, I do have to say though, sometimes it can be helpful to have somebody that kind of keeps you in line, to have somebody that says, okay, you need to make sure that you do your part as far as washing the dishes. I know that was something that my ex and I had an issue with because I really did not like to wash the dishes, and she kind of got on that about me, and I was like, you know what, you're right. So I started to do better with that. I actually kind of set up a scheduled time for it, and that helped out a lot. And even having a little TV in the kitchen, so I had something to kind of entertain me while I was doing it, and then I just didn't think about it as being a chore as much, was very helpful. So yeah, it can be good in a way to live with somebody, especially in a relationship, because yeah, they can kind of keep you in line, and I think you do worry about your, or at least you should kind of worry about your appearance more and how you keep yourself up. So definitely positives to it in that way. And it is nice sometimes, to have somebody to go out with. The issue I had, like in my marriage, though, is my ex really didn't like to go out nearly as much as I like to. But if you are with somebody that really does like to go out and have fun, that's awesome. And of course, there are financial benefits to it. I mean, I won't lie. I've said this many times on my main channel, even though I collect figures and everything, a lot of my collection is based off of help from subscribers that have been very kind to me. So, yeah, I mean, I did buy the majority of it, but like I said, a lot of, especially the like higher price things that I have and the higher value figure that I have, a lot of that has come from the help of subscribers and some people that allowed me to kind of pay them back in figures over time. So, but when I was married, I actually was able to, at that time I wasn't doing collectibles yet, but I was really into graphic novels, and I built up a pretty healthy library of graphic novels because I had that spare money. Eventually we kind of ran into financial issues with her not doing her part, but when it was nice, when things were going smooth, it really was nice to have that extra income. I will warn people though that don't get in a relationship and live with somebody just for the financial benefits, because that can easily come crashing down on you. So I think that's the wrong reason to get with somebody and live with them, and then also to stay with somebody as well. I think it's just not worth it in the long run, because that is going to be a lot of stress. If you're not really happy with the person and it's only about the financial benefits, that's no good. It's not going to hold up over time. So don't look at that as a reason to do that. And I know a lot of guys that have done that in the past, especially when I was in the Army. There were a lot of guys that got married just because they didn't want to live in the barracks. They wanted to live in housing. They wanted the benefits that came along with that, basically. And to me, it's foul to do that. So, yeah, I just, and I'm really, of course, speaking to adults, but young people as well, that you're thinking ahead. You need to really weigh it and think about it. What's best for you, living with somebody, or you're being independent, living on your own. And I'll say this as well, if you're going to live with somebody, if you're going to be in a relationship, talk about your finances up front. Don't wait till you're already moved in together and then try to work things out. No, talk about it up front. Decide who's going to deal with what. I know some people try to split the bills perfectly down the middle, like to the point where they actually say, okay, the electric bill, I pay half, you pay half. Okay, the water bill, I pay half, you pay half. That to me seems a bit tedious. I think it makes more sense to actually split up the bills, like, okay, you take care of this, I take care of that, you take care of this, you know what I'm saying? Like, you each have your own list, and it's pretty close. Maybe not perfectly even, but pretty close. That to me makes a lot more sense. But yeah, you gotta work that out beforehand, otherwise there's gonna be some serious confusion there. And decide who is going to be the most responsible for certain things, because some people just aren't good about keeping up with bills when it comes down to it, or certain bills. Because I know when I was married, there were times when we would come home and find out the lights are off or the water is off because she forgot to take care of it, and yeah, I would be very aggravated. So we had to shuffle things around there to what worked better, which still, has some issues in the long run, but you just got to know who you're with and to figure out what's going to be best. And I'll say this, if you're not ready to talk about finances, then you're not ready to live with somebody. That's all it comes down to. Now, I've been mainly focusing on like relationships, but I know also having a roommate is an option as well. Me personally, I don't see the point in an adult having a roommate unless you live in an area where the cost of living is high. So it might be a major city or just may be a state where the cost of living is high. But to me, if you're like over 30 and you live in a place where the rent is usually not that bad and things like that, I think having a roommate is kind of, and I feel like it's not worth it because, there could be, like, I just couldn't see myself living with just a friend because I do feel like it's going to create some issues, especially if it's a friend that likes to party and they like to have people coming in and out and things like that. And, I've heard of issues and I've seen situations where people were roommates and then they had issues with people coming in and taking things that belong to them and, just all sorts of situations to where it's not good. And, having people over like all hours of the night and stuff like that. So, yeah, to me, it's just, I'm not a fan of the idea of a roommate, especially, like I said, once you hit 30 and over, unless, like I said, you live in an area where the cost of living is high, then to me, it is a lot more understandable. But, yeah, I'm not going to say any more about that. I'll just say, again, based off my current situation, financially, it's very tough. It is. I won't lie. It is very tough at times. I'm hoping to change that soon. That's part of the reason why I'm working on my master's. That will increase my pay. And as a matter of fact, once I get a certain number of college hours in, I think that'll help with my pay. And then once I actually have my master's, it's definitely going to help with my pay. So there's that benefit to it. So, yeah, I'm trying to better my situation. And, especially if you're young, you got to think ahead about yours. And I would definitely say if you're young, take your education seriously because nobody's buying you video games and this and that when you get older. You got to really take care of yourself. And I may get to another topic later on, though, because there are, I'm going to say mainly some women that are very guilty of trying to take care of grown men, which I'm not a fan of. But that's a topic for another day, so I'm going to leave that alone for right now. But yeah, young people really think ahead about where you want to be in the future, how you want to live in the future, because it really is up to you in the long run. And I feel like you should never leave yourself in a situation where you can get kicked out and legally you can't do anything. One thing I almost forgot, and I'll let this be my last piece of advice, because I strongly believe in this. If you're going to live with somebody, I feel like it is very important to get a neutral spot. I mean, I don't think it's a great idea to move into somebody's apartment or their house even. I feel like you gotta have a neutral spot. That way, if there is a lot of ugliness and arguments and this and that, again, you're not in that situation where somebody can just kick you out because both of your names are on that lease, So I think that's very important. Do not put yourself in a situation where you can be kicked out in a heartbeat and legally you can't do anything. Okay, I can't stress that enough. I really feel strongly about that. So, yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. I definitely want to hear your responses. Sorry if this ended up being a super long video. But like I said, I did want to give a channel update. And then also, get into this topic here. So, as always, I definitely want to hear your feedback. I will try to be more consistent on this channel. It's kind of difficult right now just because of my online courses. And I got so much I want to do with my main channel. But I will try to get back to doing maybe at least a video a week on this channel. We'll see what happens there. But thank you all for watching, especially if you stuck with me all the way to the end. Do try to spread the word about the channel. I would like to get some more people, involved because I really do like to talk about these topics. So I really would appreciate that. Again, thank you all for taking the time to watch, and you all take care. Till next time.